Fires sometimes in the utility room. There was an old man in the next room who everyone was waiting on to die, but the Reaper hadn't come to collect him just yet. Instead, it was a constant litany of sobbing and shrieking through the walls, some of it from his relatives, but just as much from him. He was a pitch-perfect asshole to the staff during the day, but at night, the fear set in. He'd cry, he'd howl. Last night he'd gone off the rails, or over the rails of his bed, as it were, and security had to tie him down. He was fighting death, but it was going to come for him anyway. Just like it felt as if death was coming for her. Petra cringed in her bed, staring at her closed door. She had never felt this afraid before, and she'd had a lot to fear since she'd come to the tiny town of Temperance, Wyoming, 9 months ago. She'd been held prisoner by a drug-dealing alchemist. She'd fought a basilisk and the gang of biker women who worshipped it as a goddess. She'd battled a 150-year-old ghost bent on wiping out Yellowstone's wolves. And the undead. She squeezed her eyes shut. She would not think of him. Would not. But in the dark hours, in the silence surrounding her, she couldn't help it. Gabriel, the man she loved, had stared down death in all its guises. He'd been hanged from the alchemical tree of life nearly 2 centuries ago, and been resurrected to serve the land's masters. He'd been taken apart again and again by time and night and circumstance, and always rose to greet the dawn. Even when the magic of the tree, the lunaria, had drained away and left him an ordinary man, he'd faced death and come out the other side. Half blind and lame, certainly, but he had survived. Or so she had thought. He had vanished at the end of winter, right before she was to go to her first chemotherapy session. Her hand with the IV balled into a fist. He would not have left her, not if he could have helped it. He had been a wanted man, sure, but... The IV pole shrieked, and she stabbed the reset button. It quieted down, and Petra snorted back a sob and a string of drool. Damn it, he was supposed to be facing this with her. They'd been married. Sure, a marriage of convenience for many reasons, but wasn't he supposed to be here? Even if just to be her friend, just to brush what remained of her hair and maybe hold her hand once in a while? She sucked in a breath. She'd looked for him. She'd gone to the Rutherford Ranch, the site of the alchemical tree of life, and found nothing. She'd filed a missing persons report, even threatened the sheriff, who surely wanted him dead. Nothing. It was as if he'd never existed. As if she'd just imagined him. She was supposed to assume he was dead, that he'd walked off the edge of a flat earth and been eaten by dragons. Gabe had confronted many kinds of death, most stranger and more violent than that. But Gabe had never faced death like this, sterile as saline water, with machines and lack of sleep hallucinations, the sheer helplessness of it all. Maybe it was best that he wasn't here. She closed her eyes. She didn't believe that for a second. "Where are you?" she whispered over lips that felt gummy and tasted like wintergreen toothpaste. Her father had forbidden her from trying to enter the spirit world while she was undergoing treatment. She ignored him. She'd been trying hard to get there to look for Gabe, thinking that if he were dead, at least she'd know for certain. But she couldn't get in, no matter how hard she tried. She'd asked for her father's help. He was an alchemist. He could open the door. She had begged him. Her father had looked as if he was ready to cry. "You might not come back," he'd said, reaching out to touch her thin hand. "You have to hang on to this world." And she had come to admit that he might be right. Chemo wasn't going well. She'd gotten badly dehydrated this last round, and they'd had to stop. Her kidneys had started to shut down, and there was worry about infection.